Hello and good evening. My name is John, and we're here playing ARISEN as part of my Steam cleaning series, where I go through every game in my Steam library. Eventually, then arbitrarily rate them after a wee bit of playtime. I don't know what this game is. This is ARISEN Prologue. It was a free game offered on Steam. Content warning. ARISEN is intended for a mature audience. It contains graphic depictions of blood, violence, murder, suicide, racism, sexism, transphobia, slavery, verbal abuse. What? That's not implied by the store page. Game is fiction that tackles tough real-world issues. If you're struggling with these issues yourself, this game may not be right for you. By shedding a light on these difficult topics, we hope our game... Whoa! I didn't click, but I guess the game decided I had enough time reading. All right, this is... It says alpha, but again, the store page says this is ready. So, ARISEN Prologue. Click to start. Gamer mode. Must be like different music. I want... Wait, what? Wait, the little one is the... That's a UX question I have. New game! Yeah. Well, we'll go with that. Yeah. This is not going up on my channel, I don't think. That again was not implied at all by the game when I looked at it in the store. You're regaining consciousness. How long have you been unconscious? You couldn't tell. You have difficulty to reason. That doesn't seem right. Thinking hurts. In fact, you only feel pain. Even breathing is unpleasant. Long, violent convulsions are shaking your body as unbearable shocks. Are you swirling? Where are you? The air stinks, reeks. It reeks of sweat, dirt. Faces? This would be feces. Pus, blood. The arid smell of regurgitation makes you gag. You can detect a familiar marine scent, as well as a metallic one. Your throat burns. Your body is heavy. You are weak. Your head is spinning. Are you floating? When have you eaten or drunk? Maybe drank? Drunk. For the last time. Your wrists, your ankles, your neck have all been tied. It is weighty, hard, and smooth. This thing sticks to your skin because of sweat, and maybe dried blood too. While you're trying to move, you hear some links click. A wave of panic is rising in your guts. You have been jailed. It is noisy here, more and more every minute. Long melodious wood crack and roaring waves are filling your ears. You are in a ship. It is pitching. You cannot feel the wind on your skin, thus you are in the hold. There is people around you. Everywhere. They are whispering, whining, crying, vomiting. Some of them speak Elvish. Okay, so we are in a place where elves are a thing. The others use your mother tongue. You are struggling with staying conscious. You want to listen to them, understand what happened. At last, your eyes are opening. Light hurts, even if the place seems very dark. You're lying against the side of the ship. It is a huge one. Base semicolon. There's a crowd of people. All these chains are singing when shaken. So much prisoners. They pile up. They were merchandise. Some soldiers in full armor are doing their rounds. You recognize them. Macau soldiers from the Makelet Island. Here you are. I was afraid you'd never wake up. So, as I mentioned earlier, I generally don't play games in early access if I can avoid it, or if they're not at least like been abandoned for 5 years, because it's generally not fair. This game was not tagged as early access, even though it has the thing up there, and there's plenty of grammatical errors. So we're going to do our best. I mean, it's a free game, so like I didn't invest anything in it. I should mention that too. It is a free game, so you know. Free games tend to have a different size and scope, and some are, you know, different projects for that. Here you are. I was afraid you'd never wake up. While you were... Okay. He's got the ears, so is he an elf? While you are trying to sit properly, you're glancing at your neighbor. He is a tall, muscular black elf. His head is shaved. He is watching you with a soft, sad look. How do you feel? Oh, that's interesting. I can be... Submissive, sadness. I want to be sadness. Sadness. You are trying to speak. You can't hold back your tears. You can't speak. The stranger does not seem surprised. He is looking at you very softly while he is coming closer. You understand he doesn't want to oppress you. He winces in pain. His wounds are hurting too. My name is Tarak Sharpsong, and you? What's your name? Sadness and some... Be sad again. We were trying hard not to cry, unhappy, restless. Tarak sits up straight. He guesses you need some time to recover. He studies you with indulgence. You remember what happened? He figures out it's a no. You want me to tell it to you? As you don't say a word, he is carrying on. Macals have plundered many villages along the southeast coast of our Nagal. We are just part of the spoils they've gathered. They killed everybody who didn't seem useful. Your clan, my tribe, they're either dead or jailed in one of these ships. He speaks calmly, but his face betrays his suffering. It's a decent, you know, the facial expression is pretty decent there. I don't know how much it'll change throughout this, but, you know, the blinking and the model animation's okay. We weren't prepared. I suspected it, but no one believed me. Submissive. Oh, okay, so give me a hint. You're listening. I agree. You agree, and he stares you agree and stare at him gently. Your body is still shaking, yet you would like to comfort him. Oh, a new card. Compassion. I got the achievement called Pat Pat. Macals have chosen to isolate themselves from the world for a year, I think? Maybe more? Something occurred. These probably all shouldn't be sentences. They always were belligerent. They weren't like that. I don't understand. He grims sadly. Journal. I've got emotions. Avoidance. Okay, so I've discussed... Okay, there's multiple categories. That's interesting. Fear. Attack, rebellion. Joy. World? Quests. Hero. Okay. He grins sadly. The only thing I'm sure about, it's our fate. They've kept the useful or entertaining ones. That's why we're going to be thrown into the arena. Compassion. You are whining. Remain motionless. Alright, compassion. You thank him for these information, and telling him the situation must be very hard for him too. Black Elf puts the palm out of... I assumed he was a him? The Black Elf puts the palm of her hand against... No, that's not right. The Black Elf puts the palm of her hand against his chest. Should be your? With soft movements, he grins. Thank you for your concern, honestly. Silence again. You let your head hit the belly of the ship. Somebody is crying. You hear punches and chains moving. You already hate these sounds. However, you know you will hear them several times. Days come one after another. Water is rare, tepid. Some people are so thirsty they drink their own urine. Ugh. Rats are uncommon, but when they reaches you to sniff your feet, you shamefully crave after their flesh. Rats are uncommon, but when they... No, that's the same line we already had once. You are now in a hurry to land. It can't be worse. This is what you keep telling yourself. A fragile hope, a foolish hope. Your unique neighbor, Tarak, is like a life belt to you. You speak as often as possible every time soldiers are busy elsewhere. You're not always speaking, by the way. Sometimes you communicate by movements like gestures and moral support or discreet mime games. He knows your name and parts of your story. I don't know my name. Oh, I did put my name in. Nights appear more bright and days less annoying. You learn he was the chief of the last tribe with exclusively black elves in Varg Nagal. He had been cut far from his remaining fellows. Macals seem to have condemned his dying species to a quick extinction. Tarak appears to accept it more easily than other survivors. Suicide attempts are usually around you. 13 days, or maybe 12, 14. It's hard to focus. The heat is nearly unbearable. The lack of water, sleep, food is detrimental to your intellectual capacity, even if your dreams are erratic and incoherent. Seagulls have been screaming since yesterday. A renewed interest chokes the prisoners because they all know what it means. The coast is not so far anymore. Tarak sleeps a lot. He's sparing himself. All his wounds have healed. Oh, that's good. Didn't get infected. He doesn't seem disturbed at all by the actual mess over both of you, as if he was able to completely ignore it. You have gazed at the other dark-skinned elves. They are truly astonishing physically and mentally. Truly an astonishing physical and mental endurance. However, one always told you these people were, amongst the elvish species, the least respected. Some high elves judged them not worthy enough to be servants. The ship is mooring in a long, slow motion. following by the angry slaps of the waves against the hull. You sit up straight. Keep your ears open. Prisoners are shaking their cuffs. Guards are roaring in the mother tongue. Some hit the ground with the spear. At the beginning, you can't hear fine, and that frustrates you a little more. His wounds have not healed. You can't say his wounds have healed and then not heal his wounds. Harak is perfectly awoken. I think you mean like wide awake? Oh, there we go. Steam Cleany? He's staring at you and then signals you to keep calm. Soldiers are eager to disembark. They will hit you faster than ever. One after another, like a casual habit, warriors untie you and escort you to the deck. Daylight blurs your eyes. You haven't seen it for ages. You're suddenly everywhere, making the faces glow and the sail shining. You stagger. Someone jostles you. You stumble again. Seagulls scream too loudly. The deck whines below your feet. Okay. Someone is stopping every prisoner to draw up an inventory of the living catch. He sometimes have a few words in the common language with the captains when he wants details. Maybe he's looking for werefolk. Huh? Are they worthless? Do they have more value? You have no idea. He seems to do sums, checking your future price properly. It's your turn. He looks up and down at you. Female, huh? Female human? Don't have another choice? You nod. You nod and lower your eyes. Census taker writes it down. He is no more interested in you. Ow. Those who understand he finished, they kick you behind the knee. You fall, bang against the barrier. Blood invades your mouth. You're complaining loudly. Help you to get on your feet, only because they are rushing. Soon you're on the deck with other slaves. You get slowly used... That's some music. Slowly you get used to the light. No, slowly you get used to light. Docks are overloaded with soldiers, weapons, luggages, treasures. Ships are numerous as they are all discharging waves of spoils. You know where we are. Gathalar, the heart of army's power in Mashalet. Its high fortifications have the color of sand. They overlook you. Even the narrow streets seem to oppress you. One tied you all together. Warriors are surrounding you. Wind is weak. You are too hot. But you walk ahead. There is no other option. And, you know, so far, like, the visuals seem to be okay. I don't know about the theming or structure of some of this stuff. Like I said, the visuals are all right. Like, the characters are expressive, and the world has nice little accenting animations. I'm super curious, again, about the language barrier, but like it says, it is an alpha version. Air is dry and salted. It is scratching your lungs. Nacelles greet proudly their fellows when they meet. You hear congratulations, enthusiasm, cheering. A historical day for the nation, they seem to say. That is not normal. Did your people lie to you for years? Since when Markles are monsters? What should you do to them? Why do they look vaguely at you? As if to have the same value of dirt. Why? Gapel Arisha, in fact, is surrounded with two ranges of high walls. Between these walls there's a deep space similar to empty moats. It is closed to the upper side of a thick metallic structure. I should also mention this game was not tagged as adult. At least the time I downloaded it, so... this place is arranged to be used as a jail to the future and actual slaves. One by one, they make you go down into your cage as if you were seeds thrown into a silo. They also throw you from the top to all of you flatbread and a flask of warm water. You pounce on it. Here, stone is superbly shaped and the bars finely crafted. A beautiful cage. A fat lot that does you. On your right, Tarak, soldiers call their colleagues to show them hauntingly. They appear to expose a beast. On your left, another black elf. He is tall and muscled too, but his stature is not as impressive as his chief. He's gazing at the sky, which is putting on pink colors. His face shows a violent sadness, as if he's feeling someone is watching. He lowers his head and stares at you. Yes? His tone is very harsh. He's offending you. You are unhappy a lot of people have died. You ask him what he wants to talk about it. You touch the metal bars and whisper to him, he seems so sad. You ask him if he wants to talk about it. The stranger trembles. It is nearly inappreciable. He moves a leg back, his dancer's body faintly lit by the decreasing light. He stares at you without saying anything for a long minute, then laughs. It sounds disillusioned. Excuse me. I can't believe it. Kindness deeps down in a Mescal jail? comes forward. You are able to see his fresh scars. He has suffered too. I can't wait to snuff it. And you? Meet my family, forget all I've seen, all they've done. You lose interest in him and move away. You whisper your support. Come closer, whispering you understand his pain. You tell him there is still hope. Suddenly appears to be nearing the railing. That makes you quickly step back. He catches the bars. His sticky, bleeding hands are shaking. Actually, all his body is shaking. Anger and suffering are consuming him. Consuming him? The two of you remain at staring. The two of you are staring at each other, motionless, during a few seconds. Then the black elf releases the bar with a deep sigh. Thank you for what you're trying to do. He wipes his face with his hands and turns his back on you. I'll watch over you tomorrow. Let's try to survive together. If we don't, we won't fall alone. The young black elf feels you gazing on him, his back still shaking. What did he live? It must have been violent to haunt him so much. He sighs again, looks back. This is distress, shame, despair in his hazel eyes. That's not really hazel? Maybe? It's hard to say. However, while he keeps staring with residence shy, you feel something is changing. His features are contracting, then releasing, and then contracting again. He is trying to tell you words you cannot hear. Silence is pure like... That's not how you spell crystal. Crystal. How many times has passed? Night has fallen so quickly. You rub your eyelids, they are burning, and Is he gone now? He is sitting in a corner, praying, something like that. You fall down on the whole hard ground. Nevertheless, your heart is not so heavy anymore. You are not alone. Did you just make friends? You're falling asleep while hearing elvish whispering around you. Black elves are talking, singing. It's so sad and quite deep. Surely a tribute to the deads. They cannot disturb you for long. You are far too tired. Problem is, all night long, the hysterical cries, painful screams, and distant metal hammering, and the drunned singing soldiers. They'd be probably drunk? When you wake up at dawn, you can't go back to sleep. You feel nervous, weak, irritated, a chaotic mixture of negative emotions. Your fate will be decided today. Your neighbors are whispering in Elvish. Harak appeals to support his fellow. The sky is purple, pink, and gold. Wind is shrieking. So you were waking up. The black elf seems to be less attentive. He struggles to hide. He is not really listening anymore. He eventually ends the conversation himself, telling Tarak he's just realized he's been rude last night and gives you his name, Hoda Wardrum, and he asks yours. Harak isn't offended. The grate above you opens up. They let down a ladder. Their bows are pointed right at you. Obedient, defeated, and tired, you climb up rung after rung. The two of them lift you by your arms to hasten your exit. The wind lashes at your bare legs. Your tattered clothing smells horrible. Your hair is all sticky. The sandy air infiltrates your nose. Soon, all your companions have been forced up by the soldiers. They put you on a line, chain you up. They march. The march begins in eerie silence. In spite of the early hour, a crowd is gathered. People rose from bed early to enjoy this show. The weather is mild for now. It seems like this march will never end. But then, an arena appears, colorful mosaic embellishing the splendid off-white outline. You've heard it before. At the time, you thought it only held duels of honor, shows, and fighting practices there. Maybe it was the case then. Today, the atmosphere is very different. Everything runs like clockwork. The men, the arena staff, the soldiers, they all look the same to you. Usher you through an enormous door before separating you in two groups. They'll take the stairs to the right, some to the left. Armed guards are waiting for the top of the stairs. They're all wearing golden collars and their movements are mechanical. Push each one of you into a vaulted corridor at the end which stands a heavy metal door. It smells like sweat, leather, metal, and fear. When the door is open, you'll move forward. They speak your language with a slight accent. One way or another. The man behind you raises a pitchfork. In the next corridor, another human whispers a prayer. A gong rings out. The crowd roars. Then 3 drum beats. Door opens. Blinding light pours in. Pitchfork jabs at your legs. Shaking, you move forward. Some must have refused to budge. Soon you can hear the first sounds of metal piercing flesh. The first crowds. Harak, here you are. Harak emerges from the crowd, Coda by his side. Are you ready? They have both picked up a weapon from the sandy ground. The blades are bare and dirty, but holding them seems to have given the 2 elves hope again. Oh. Missa? You are terrified. On a sign from the fallen chief, Coda immediately sprints away. Terra comes closer to you and puts his hand on your shoulder. His dark silhouette stands out in the light. It's okay to be afraid. Don't let yourself be overwhelmed. Stay close to us if you don't know how to fight. Alright? I know it's going to be hard, but I promise you we can make it. You're strong. You're clever. We'll watch it there's a back. Coda comes back with the weapon and hands it to you, silently. He seems tense, almost enraged. It looks like he is burning from the inside. The gong resounds once more. The crowd screams, grunts, pounds its feet like a monstrous beast. The sun is punishingly bright. The air is already sweltering. A weapon in hand, you do not understand how you came to have it. Everything is going so fast. You avoid fighting. You fight in a supporting role. Let's go for it. You fight on the front line. You want to give and receive as many blows as you can. The crazed audience starts throwing nets full of food into the arena. I don't know. You team up? You team up with the other slaves so you can share a small part of the spoils with them. You are wounded in the hip by a powerful claw swipe. The other fighters next to you manage to put the lion back. Wait, there's a lion? Attack! You run towards the beast. You run towards the beast to try and hurt it in turn. The drum starts pounding again, this time with a different, livelier beat. Then slower and slower. The doors open once again. A multitude of slaves with gilded necks come out. They drive away the last of the beast, pick up the weapons scattered on the ground, and start piling the corpses on a cart. The crowd cheers hauntingly, satisfied with the show. You stumble towards the exit like a motherless lamb. Are you going to the slaughterhouse or the pen now? Soldiers surround Tarak. He lowers his weapon and drops it on the ground. The surviving brown elves protest, becoming agitated, trying to move towards him. The chief gestures them to calm them down. No use. Some lose their temper, and the soldiers brutally punish them. Only then does the warrior stir. He straightens up and resignedly stares the soldier in the eye. They take you out of the arena, back onto the street. Outside, you cross paths with warriors, blacksmiths, combat instructors, and magistrates. The clinking of blades sometimes cut through the shouts of training recruits. Here, the army rules. See more slaves, one of them a woman, slows down to look at you straight in the eye. It's as if she was trying to warn you. Your ordeal has just begun. It must be around noon. The sky is blazing blue. You relish the fresh, soothing air in the narrow street. It makes you forget about the pain coursing in your body. You are limping. The pain is gnawing at your shoulder. Soldiers escort all the survivors to the marketplace. There you see people haggling with each other and examining fragrant oil. And you hear the bleating of sheep and the shouts of people greeting each other above the crowd. Everything is for sale here. You are alive, that is true, but now you and your companions are nothing but goods to be bought. The soldiers escort you to the section of the marketplace dedicated to slave training. Raised platforms alternate with rows of cages. The place is cramped. The shouts of merchants praising the merits of the product fill the air. Many of them are clattering with warriors, coins exchange hands, and your group is quickly divided between stalls, like so many bags of grain. You climb up a set of varnished wooden steps before being strung on a shiny chain by a half-elf. A lucky coincidence, you end up with Coda. You notice bits of brain in his hair, and his arm is hanging awkwardly. A high elf standing in front of you, carefully examining his new acquisitions. Once the soldiers are gone, he comes to talk with each of you. While the merchant is busy himself with the others, Coda opens his mouth for the first time since you left the jail. You're a good warrior. I know a fighter when I see one. You fight like me. You rush in, you give it all you got. You fought like me. You rush in, give it all you got. Yeah, I said that twice. My best friend always told me it would cost me my life. Today, it wouldn't have bothered me. He laughs joylessly and pauses for a second. I can't believe we survived. He laughs nervously. I wanted to die a free elf, but now I'll be living as a slave. Doesn't it make you angry? Agree with him. Tired, hungry, and pain. Extend your hand. Give him a weak smile and silently extend your hand for him to hold. Brownell takes your hand in his with all the gentleness his wounds allow him. His hand is hot, sticky, and rough at the same time. Softens his eyes, make you forget about the unpleasant sensations. While he stares at you, his features betray the pain he is in. Team Cleany. Sharp whack suddenly startles you both. One of the free servants of the merchants is hitting the ground with his stick. He gestures you to split up immediately. Brown Elf moves away, muttering between his teeth. At least he seems calmer now. The merchant does not speak to all the slaves he examines. The woman on your left spits at him. He gracefully dodges, angrily draws a circle in the air with his fingers, drops a bright green acid appear out of nowhere, and splashes down on the woman. She howls in pain, shaking as her skin emits sizzling sound. Her face and her chest are now covered in small, circular scars. Unfazed, the high elf walks past you and Coda without a word. He's just about to leave when two people climb up on the platform behind him. Gawelmel Ellen Qatar. Oh, there's a lot of characters coming in. They are a man and woman. He is human. She is a high elf. He's one who called the merchant by his name. The merchant suddenly turns his back, extravagant robes flying around him. Okay. We've been going for a while here. I think with the writing works. I think it's pretty good. And there's clearly some issues with the grammar and word choices and spelling. I'm going to base that on the fact that this says at the top this is an alpha version. As I mentioned earlier, I try to avoid playing games work in progress. It's just not fair to evaluate something that's not finished. This was not made clear, so I apologize for that. I do like the artwork. I do like the interstitial animations and the backgrounds. I'm a little confused about why you had to pick a naked character at the start. That just felt weird. But yeah, it seems interesting. This was ARISEN. I want to say this was ARISEN Prologue. So I guess there's a full game coming out. Cheers.